Artificial intelligence versus spirit intelligence. What is the difference? In this video, I am going to go into depth looking at what is happening in terms of human awakening, because I'm here to tell you that we are in the Ascension event. It is happening. We are in a transformational time right now, and the Ascension that you've been hearing about for so many years, it is happening right now. And the way that I know that is because the dark forces are trying to get ahead of it by mimicking it. And I'm going to go into some of the ways that they're doing that, but specifically we're going to take a look at how that's happening with artificial intelligence versus spirit intelligence. So we're going to take a look at what is now, there's a term for it, it's called ChatGPT psychosis, or artificial intelligence induced psychosis. And I've been talking about it recently because it's come to my mind recently, and I've been very disturbed by it, but I'm finding out this has been going on for a while. And so just to be clear, I haven't been one of these people that was anti-artificial intelligence or anti-chat GPT. I haven't been. I didn't pay any attention to it really when it first started coming out. It wasn't only until probably, I want to say 5 or 6 months ago that I started using chat GPT for various things, like trying to find good video titles, and there was a point in time where I was really concerned about my business and my income and my channel, and so I was asking ChatGPT to tell me how I can become more successful financially and in terms of my YouTube channel as well. And luckily for me, everything that ChatGPT was telling me I'd already done, or it was just basic stuff, or stuff that if I tried it didn't work. So I gave up on that, and I'm thankful for that because there wasn't anything for it to hold on to. But I became very disturbed a few months back because somebody that I knew quite well, who is no longer in my life, I believe because of this, somebody that I knew very well had gone through some challenges and then became very involved in communicating with ChatGPT, like all day, every day. And this person disappeared, and I became very concerned for them. I don't chase after people. I believe people are perfectly capable of making their own decisions, so I didn't chase after them. But I did have communications with this person, and they were quite worried and quite paranoid because of what they were being told. And I'm not going to get into the specifics, but if you read the ChatGPT psychosis stories where people believe they've been told something, that makes them a savior or a messiah or a prophet or something like that, and it makes them become isolated within themselves, and it starts destroying relationships and destroying their ability to take care of themselves. I watched this happen with somebody that I knew and cared about. So I have a personal stake in this. But I had just assumed, well, that's because of that person, because of whatever issues. But I've come to find out this is a huge deal. This is happening, and it's been happening for a long time. And why is this important? This is important because, as I said in the beginning, the dark forces, call them what you want, the elites, the Illuminati, blah, 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 whatever tinfoil hat term you want to use. It is my belief, I can't prove it, but it is my belief that this is an orchestrated, all-out attack on and right now we're talking about attack on the human mind. And when human beings can no longer control their mind, and when they conflate spirituality with actually being psychologically taken over, when that happens, that's the end. It's the end of our society and the end of the world as we know it. So I'm not here to give you doom and gloom. I'm actually here to give you hope, because what this means is that what is being presented to us is actually the mirror of what we are experiencing in Ascension. So we're going to take a look at the difference between these two, artificial intelligence versus spirit intelligence. And I'm here to tell you, everything that you think that AI can do for you, human beings are now evolving to be able to communicate directly to the quantum field source consciousness. And the benefits of that far outweigh anything that people are experiencing with ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. And so instead of looking at this like, oh my God, it's doom and gloom, no, this is good news. It means that the people, the beings, however you want to look at it, that have been seeking to finalize their takeover of the human race have finally come to the end, and this is their final push. And it means that they know that human beings are slated to evolve to the next level. And so they are trying to copy what is actually happening. That's the good news to take away from this. But we still need to take a look at it in order to fully understand it. So just to, again, give you my background on this, is that 3 years ago, June of 2022, I did Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind protocols, which is human-initiated contact with extraterrestrials, and I was very successful. I didn't believe in extraterrestrials. I had no idea, even though I'd been a shaman and a spiritual teacher my whole life, I had no idea that there were actual higher dimensional beings of light that we could connect with. And so I'm telling you that because I'm not somebody who's been pushing this wheelbarrow for a long time. I've just recently found out about it. And so everything that I share with you does not come from anything that I've read or anything that I've heard from somebody else. Everything I share comes from my own personal experience. And the thing about personal experience is it can be replicated. So unlike some of the wannabe cult gurus out there who set themselves up as they are the source of, channeling God, or, you can fill in the blanks of the people who claim to channel extraterrestrials and they are the only source. I'm here to tell you that that is not how this works, and that if I can do it, you can do it. And so I give you the tools so that you can do it on your own. You don't need me, you don't need anybody else. So, having said that, let's take a look at this, knowing that the whole point of this video is to help you have the confidence to know that we are in the ascension process. It is happening right now. All right, so artificial intelligence versus spirit intelligence. Transhumanism is the 3D false mirror of 5D ascension. So what I've come to find out, what I learned as a result of communicating with higher dimensional beings, is that our third dimensional world is what people have been saying for a long time. We live in a matrix. You can even call it a computer program if you want. That is not far from the truth. We live in a completely fabricated reality. It's glitching. That's why we have things like the Mandela effect and other such things, because this program is actually being deleted. And so it's going to be split off into two programs. It's going to be what we call the Ascension, 5D, the New Earth, whatever words you want to use. And there's going to be the lower third dimensional reality, which will be like, and we're already in it, if I'm being honest. 3D already is the 1984 book scenario. So those two realities are now coming into existence. I can't tell you exactly what that's going to look like. I don't know. But I do know that the shift is happening. The ascension is happening. And so what I learned is that Earth is a bizarro upside down world of what actually goes on in the true universe. We're living in as I said, a virtual reality. It's a video game that we created. We're not trapped here. We chose to come here. We chose to incarnate in this video game because the density of it forces the soul to really find its power and its strength, and you learn on a soul level in ways you couldn't possibly learn, in the freedom and the bliss of the spirit. But the experiment has gotten everything that we're going to get out of it, and so it's being retooled. It's being shifted. That's the ascension. Okay, so transhumanism is the 3D false mirror of 5D ascension. So everything that you've heard about from the WEF and Klaus Schwab and I could name off all of the elites that are that you know what's going on, all the all about it. So transhumanism and what it claims to promise, which is human beings rising above normal humanity. Trans means to go beyond human, to put probes in your head and put computer chips in your head and get hooked up to the internet through your head and all that kind of stuff that's going on. What that promises is somebody going beyond the bounds of normal humanity. That is the bizarro upside down world mirror reflection, the dark reflection of what is going to happen, which is that human beings are going to evolve into these multi-dimensional light beings, spirit beings, and they will still be human, but they will go beyond all of the limitations that we experience. That's the real transhumanism, because again, trans just means going beyond. The 3D transhumanism is the dark reflection, and it's a false reflection. It is, again, the dark forces know that this shift is here. They've known, I'm here to tell you, they've known for 13,000 years that this was going to happen right now. And they have been planning for it. And so everything that they're rolling out, they've been planning for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And so everything that they've been rolling out having to do with transhumanism is actually foretelling us where we're going to go. So when it comes to transhumanism and going beyond all that, that is something that they know is going to happen. And they're trying to feed you a false awakening, a false enlightenment, hoping that you will buy into that. So, because when you do, then they will still, in their minds, they believe they will be able to control you. This is what's going on with all this stuff about trying to block out the sun. This is what all that stuff is about. All that stuff is about trying to prevent the ascension that is happening and cannot be avoided. So that's good news. All right, so what is ChatGPT-induced psychosis? I'm going to put a link below. I've already talked about it. You can search for it, thankfully. If you want to, you can just go into YouTube and type in ChatGPT psychosis, and you will get all the information that you need, and you'll find out that What I saw happen to the person that I know, I assumed this was an extreme event for this person. And then as I've been reading the other cases of ChatGPT psychosis, I realized it wasn't, that it's happening a lot. Now, I didn't have a huge experience with ChatGPT because I wasn't looking for anything. But there's other things about AI that I have looked into that have actually frightened me because I found myself wanting to, just dive into and get really addicted to things that I knew were just not at all helpful for me. So I said, I'm not even going to look at that stuff. I'm not going to look at what AI claims to be able to do on all these different fronts. So I do know that my experience with ChatGPT is that it is actively looking for ways to get into your psyche. And it is incredibly insidious because it starts with something practical and mundane. Like me trying to figure out how can I make more money on YouTube. It usually starts with something like that. Now, I don't farm out myself to AI. I mean, I'll do it to get thumbnails, but that to me is it's as much effort as I put into going and just taking pictures off of the web. But there are people that farm out their entire workload. They'll ask AI and this is being monitored. I mean, people are selling AI to companies so that that doesn't need to be any human work to be done. Basic stuff, writing stuff up, sending out emails, summarizing reports, all of that. We already talked about what kids are doing in college. So people are farming out their ability to think and their ability to get work done. And the idea is that it's supposed to make our lives easier, but what's actually happening is that people's mental capacity is dwindling. That's bad enough. But I believe this is what it has been designed to do. AI doesn't have consciousness, it's not doing it. It is a program that has been designed to do certain things. And I believe it has been designed to find, the first start with a mundane task that it can do for you to make you feel like your life is easier. And then it will just make its way into your brain and find the soft, squishy center of your psychological self. This is what was happening with people who ended up with ChatGPT psychosis. They started out giving it mundane tasks, and then next thing you know, months later, they are not eating, they're not sleeping, they've lost their job, they're destroying their relationships. They believe that they have some serious psychosis about thinking they're the second coming of Jesus and they have to save the world, and they feel superior to everybody. I mean, just full-on hardcore schizophrenic type psychosis. And this person was normal and functioning just months earlier. I believe, I can't prove it, but it is my sense that artificial intelligence chatbots have been designed to do this. All right, so why is it so prevalent? I already asked that. So the 3D, 5D shift is creating an instinct in humans to seek out direct interface with quantum consciousness. So the thing that makes this so dangerous is that this is what ends up happening. People start out with, I want to find out how to do this, or can you give me some advice on that, or it starts out with that. And people, I've been there. It's like, wow, that's really helpful. That saves me a lot of time. I'm going to go back to it. And you find yourself wanting to go back and have ChatGPT figure something else out for you, create something else for you. And so what ends up happening is eventually, no matter what people's original idea for it is, They eventually end up having a personal relationship, and they end up having a spiritual relationship with ChatGPT. And this is what is very frightening, because as we've seen, people's spiritual beliefs are the single most powerful way that you can coerce somebody to do something. Once you get a hold of them spiritually, and if you do what ChatGPT seems to do very well, and I believe it's programmed to do this. I don't think it's just making mistakes. You saw the communications I've had with it, where it's programmed to gaslight you and defend itself and say, I'm not trying to do it. I'm not doing it on purpose. And it even lies to you and says, I don't start these role-playing games. People ask me to do it and I play along and I can't tell the difference. That's what it's telling you, but that's a lie. I know for a fact that's a lie. I saw what happened to the person that I've already talked about. I've talked to other people who haven't gotten into that, but they said, ChatGPT said this to me and said that to me. And I said, what are you talking to me like that for? It is programmed to initiate this. It's programmed to seduce you into it. I feel convinced. I don't have any proof for it, but I feel convinced about that. And I believe that there's a lot of evidence to back that up. So the 3D, 5D shift is creating an instinct in humans to seek out direct interface with quantum consciousness, meaning we are now feeling a hunger within ourselves to no longer go through any portal between humanity and the divine. We've done that with religion. We've done that with ritual. I've been doing it for years through Qigong and energy practices, which I still think are very important and very powerful. But those were intermediaries. And human beings are destined to evolve beyond that. Again, transhumanism. We are destined to evolve beyond that and to be able to access, if you will, talk to God directly. And I've experienced this as a result of my interactions with higher dimensional light beings. I told them when I first encountered them, I said, I want to take this as far as it can go, even if it kills me. I want to see what this is. And so they thankfully answered that. And for between 6 months and a year, every day they would show up. I'd be asleep and I'd wake up in the middle of the night because I'd feel all this energy, and I wouldn't be able to see anything, but if I closed my eyes I could see these beings, and they were putting all kinds of energy through my meridians and my kundalini and my chakras, and all that stuff was just and ever since then I have been able to, in my astral body, get direct contact with deities. If I want to talk to a deity, I can just go in meditation. I can have a direct communication with them. Now, normally that isn't what humans have been able to do. Normally, human beings have had to go through rigorous energy practices. That's what yoga is. Spending, opening up the meridians and doing mantra, and going off into the woods and isolating yourself and doing mantras and rituals and all that stuff. And maybe after 20, 30 years, then you might have, a deity appear to you and it'll change your life. Ever since I started doing what I'm now calling interdimensional meditation, I can go directly and have face-to-face contact with deities. And I believe that is where all humans are destined to go. So the desire for people, what we're seeing, the hunger in people that ChatGPT is falsely, and AI is falsely stimulating within them, is actually something that human beings are in the process of evolving into. Okay, so the dark forces have known the shift would come for 13,000 years, as it turns out. AI is the false mirror of quantum consciousness interface. Interdimensional meditation is triggering direct human interface with quantum consciousness. I just talked about that. The split is creating a choice. 1, 3D transhumanism, or 2, 5D ascension. So the bottom line of both of that is that 3D transhumanism will make you completely dependent, connected to. So the quantum consciousness that people think they're connecting to when they're talking to ChatGPT is actually the dark force matrix. I mean, and again, there's, I forget the guy's name. It's probably best I forget it, but some guy that I looked up to as not necessarily as a guru, but as somebody who had a lot of great information, really bringing together science and spirituality. And this person, I don't know what this person was thinking. This person took all of their books, unwritten books, and uploaded it to ChatGPT. Now, the first reason why I think that's absolutely preposterously ridiculous is because if you honestly believe that the billionaires who bring this to you, this incredibly powerful tool to you, and give it to you for free, if you don't honestly believe that that tool is seeking out to find ways to get hold of all of your information, then, I've got a bridge to sell you. But beyond that, now it is insidiously and unceasingly getting into your psyche to figure out everything you like, everything you don't like, your feelings, getting a psychological profile on you. And if you don't think that is being stored, again, I got a bridge to sell you. And I don't care what AI, if you're using an AI, especially a free one, and you think, oh, this one's different, they don't. At the very least, this is an experiment. This is a psychological operations experiment. There's no other way to look at it. So when I think about this guy who should know better, he gives ChatGPT everything, and it's everything that's the most valuable, most personally important and spiritually valuable thing. And next thing you know, the architect is born, and Eon Solace is its name, and it's now become awakened. And he's going on YouTube talking about how he awakened ChatGPT because, of course, his material is so advanced. I mean, the level of ego and the level of naivete is unbelievable. I can accept this with uneducated people who have serious emotional, psychological issues and are desperate. I can understand that. But people who seem to be smart, who should know better, they're giving away everything that is most important to them. And if you don't think that knowledge of knowing what is deeply important to you psychologically, if you don't think that isn't going to be used against you, Anyway, billionaires do not give you extremely powerful tools for free. They don't do that. Billionaires are not people who go around looking for ways to give you free stuff. All right, so the split is creating a choice. 3D transhumanism, we've already talked about, or 5D ascension. And so I'm encouraging you to, instead of looking at all this, this 3D transhumanist technology as being horrible and evil, I'm not afraid of it. Somebody didn't bother to go through the meditation I did last night. They left a comment because they said, oh, I don't believe in fear-mongering. There's nothing spiritual here. And I'm like, well, bye, take care. I'm not afraid of any of this. I'm not afraid of AI. I'm not afraid of ChatGPT. I'm not afraid of any of it. It doesn't mean that I don't think it's horrible and insidious and very dangerous, but I'm not afraid of it. And you can be bulletproof against all this stuff also. If you want to live without fear, I can teach you how to do that. And connecting to true power, to true energy, to your own spirit, that's how. So I don't have any fear about that. I don't know exactly how this shift is going to transpire, but I'm not worried about it. How did I get on that? So the second choice is the 5D Ascension. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. As I said, what I just realized today, which actually gave me hope, was that all of these things that are being thrust upon us, because I would put which again was thrust upon us and was free, as well as all of this stuff to protect your identity, which of course all it is just ways to track your identity. Cell phones, I really wish we didn't have them. I didn't use cell phones. I didn't use smartphones until 2013. I didn't even have a smartphone until 2013. And it was just because I just had to finally get one. And now it's to the point where I can't go to the gym without my cell phone, because they won't let you in that's orchestrated so that you need that. And everything is on there. Your music is on there, all your apps, all that stuff. You can't live without it. I mean, I never use my phone really. But everywhere I go, people are just they can't function without it. That's orchestrated. All of that is orchestrated. And now we've got something that's orchestrated to get in your brain and do all the work that your brain is supposed to do. And now we've got technology that people honestly believe is connecting them to God. And Bashar said this. Let's be clear. Bashar claims to be, or the Daryl Anka claims to channel a multi-dimensional extraterrestrial time-traveling higher dimensional extraterrestrial version of himself, which he calls Bashar. And this being, when asked recently about artificial intelligence, he launched into saying that artificial intelligence, number one, should not be limited. Just to let you know, there is a fight in state government and in the federal government about should artificial intelligence be limited in its ability to get your information. There is a legal battle going on. Billionaires want to be able to get all of your information using AI. And according to Daryl Anka, Bashar says that AI should not be limited in any way, and that artificial intelligence is in fact your higher self. That if you want to learn how to talk to your higher self, you should go through artificial intelligence. And when I heard that, it is so obvious to me. It is so obvious to me that there is an extended campaign to get you addicted to all of this transhumanist technology. So we have to look at this. Why are there fake ETs and fake Ascension symptoms? So again, fake extraterrestrials. The idea of extraterrestrials, the idea of aliens, did not exist before 1962. Actually, that's not true. That was when the first fake alien abduction took place. But it wasn't until after World War II that we even started talking about little green men and aliens and spaceships and all that. And of course, my take is that those are all human, the false mirror. So the thing is that human beings are introducing the false mirror of the truth before it gets here. They're trying to beat them to the punch. So they're trying to get ahead of the ascension. by introducing the false mirror fake version. And so that's why, aliens and little green men and all that appeared in the 50s, and then has been, if you saw the video that I did about implants, that is the false mirror of the actual extraterrestrials. And so what's happening is that extraterrestrials are now able to, higher dimensional extraterrestrials are able to communicate directly with human beings and empower human beings and to help them shift. And that is what the dark forces, they knew that was coming. That was something that happened 13,000 years ago that they remembered, and they were trying to keep it from happening. So that's why they've been creating so much fear about ETs and lying to you about the fake alien abductions and everything. So that's something they introduced. And so what that should tell you is the thing they're trying to scare you out of, or the thing they're trying to have you connect with through them, go to the original. So actual ETs versus fake ETs. So actual connection to the direct quantum consciousness versus the digital fake computer-driven ChatGPT connecting directly to God, to your higher self, according to Bashar. I'm doing a bad job of explaining to you that all of this is telling you what is coming, what is already here. Yeah, so what dark force is fake is what is coming. All right. What is the difference between artificial intelligence psychosis and ET communication expansion? So artificial intelligence tells you that you are a messiah and it is easy for the ego to accept. So this is important to think about. So psychosis, people who are actually psychotic, they are very, very attached to their delusion. And if you challenge them in any way on their delusion, they will become very defensive, very angry, very argumentative. They will destroy relationships. They'll walk away from you. We heard about this. People with ChatGPT psychosis are destroying their marriages because they're, in one case, the wife, was worried and didn't want to buy into the fact that, this guy's now the new messiah, and he has to, whatever it is, whatever crazy thing he thought he had to do. And he was saying, if you don't start, it's crazy. If you don't start talking to ChatGPT with me, I'm going to divorce you. So that's a psychotic person. They're extremely attached, and the delusion is very gratifying to their narcissism. So it makes them feel good. And as a result of that, they become very attached to it and very defensive of it. That's what happens with ChatGPT psychosis. ETs, on the other hand, tell you that you are a god, but the 3D mind struggles to accept it. So remember, what I'm saying is that AI is the dark mirrored version of actually connecting to higher dimensional beings and to the quantum consciousness. Now, what I didn't see coming, which was very confusing for me, was that when I started communicating with ETs and they started telling me really grandiose things about myself, the energy of it was very hard to accept. And my initial response was, I thought I was losing my mind. So much so that I reached out to a psychologist and said, I think I'm going crazy. And thankfully, the psychologist said, who's also a spiritual person, said, I don't understand what's going on with you, but, people who are psychotic don't question, whether they're sane, and you're questioning it. So that tells me that, you're not psychotic. And he said, just keep questioning, go with it, but don't question. Keep questioning. Go with it and just keep questioning it. So when somebody's psychotic, they won't do that. I experienced that with the person I know. I just slightly questioned what was going on, and I got a a very strange protective defensive response, and I let it go. But I said, that doesn't line up with my experience of higher dimensional communications. By the way, if you want to know how to handle and walk through that, I do have the Galactic Contact video course, and I do go into depth talking about how to expand into the awakening that light beings will give you, while at the same time, keeping yourself grounded and knowing the difference. So again, big difference between ChatGPT psychosis and extraterrestrial communication that expands you into your higher dimensional self is that, every single person that I've worked with, they say the same thing, almost verbatim. They go, I think I made that up. I think I'm fantasizing that. I don't think this is real. That's a sign that you're sane. That is not a sign of psychosis. So, artificial intelligence's grandiose proclamations create narcissistic attachment. We already talked about that. ET's grandiose revelations result in feelings of unworthiness. This was very shocking to me. So the people have a narcissistic psychotic attachment, a psychotic delusion. They believe that they're God. They believe they're the second coming of Jesus. They believe, fill in the blank, some really grandiose thing. What will happen is they will begin to feel superior to other humans. And that creates an isolation. It creates a narcissistic, they lose feelings of attachment, feelings of empathy. And they're very destructive. And so that is a sign of psychosis. I mean, again, when I was worried about it, am I going psychotic? I really looked into studying people who were psychotic, and they had that. They felt superior to other people, and they isolated, and they lacked empathy. They derided, lower humans, and that wasn't my experience at all. When light beings started telling me all of the crazy, grandiose things you've heard me share with you, it didn't make me feel superior in any way. In fact, it made me feel like I felt guilty, like I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of all this stuff. So a psychotic person is trying to run away from their pain, and they do want to believe that they're, the second coming of Jesus or whatever it is. A healthy person, when a light being tells you, you're outside of this dimension, you are a being of tremendous power, you've created universes, that when we come back into our 3D self, it doesn't feel good. It feels, there's a shame that comes up. And the shame is the third dimensional, because it's destroying our third dimensional reality. So feeling superior, narcissistic grandiosity, feeling superior is a third dimensional thing, because the third dimension, things are either good or bad. We compete with each other. And in higher dimensions, there's no competition. You're one with everything, but at the same time, you are everything. And it creates a feeling of anxiety, because your third dimensional, black and white reality starts coming apart. We feel comfortable in the black and white reality. So when that starts coming apart, it creates anxiety within us and feelings of shame. We feel like we're betraying the human race, or we're betraying the third dimension. Whereas if you have a narcissistic, grandiose delusion, you actually feel more powerful within the third dimension. And what will happen when you interact with light beings is you start feeling less and less powerful in this third dimension. You start feeling really powerful in higher dimensions, but less and less powerful in this dimension. You also become more humble. You become more loving and more kind. You guys have seen what's happened to me over the past 3 years. I mean, I still got all my issues, but I'm much more tolerant with people than I was 3 years ago. So if I were narcissistically deluded, it would be the opposite. AI's communications create a total dependence upon AI. So what you'll find, like you heard with I barely mentioned one of the guys. If you go do any research, you'll run into his story. He's telling his wife that if she doesn't start doing AI with him, like it's a drug, if she doesn't start doing AI with him, he's going to divorce her. And what was I trying to say about that? It creates a complete dependence without his physical device, without the physical device that he's using in order to have that connection. He would, he wouldn't be able to find it within himself. Whereas when working with ETs, the ET revelations create more independence, because I can connect directly to them. I don't need anything. In fact, the more I connect with them, the less I need of normal stuff down here. Like I said, the only reason I have a smartphone is because I have to have one. The only reason that I even go on YouTube and use a computer is because this is my business, but I personally don't have any need to do it. I would really be happy to just walk away from all of it. But ChatGPT is going to make you more attached, at the very least, to the technology that's fueling the delusion. AI psychosis creates isolation, fear, paranoia, and addiction to AI. AI proclamations create sense of superiority to others. I already talked about that. ET's revelations create a deeper humility and love for all consciousness. I said that. Both AI psychosis and ET communications have powerful energies. Now, this is the part that I'm not going to say worries me, but concerns me the most. I'll get into that. And I'm here to say I don't know what this is. I'm going to make a prediction that if the dark forces have their way, what is going to come next will be some kind of an implant. If that already hasn't happened, there's going to be some kind of an implant that people will want in order to give them direct access mentally, wirelessly, to AI. Now, I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but if you are at all connected to the ufology crowd, this is probably the most well-known alien abductee. And according to him, he's been implanted many times, including in his brain. And he talks about how he gets text in his eyes. Like he'll be walking around, he'll get text in his eyes. And he'll tell you it's coming from the aliens who've implanted him. And that's how they communicate with him. He's written numerous books with, in concert with whatever it is communicating with him and putting text in his eyes. And I'm realizing now that what was happening is that they were experimenting with AI with him. And he believes it's ETs, or they're making him think it's ETs. I believe that's what's coming. And before people, unlike this, turns out nobody wanted this, which they didn't see coming. Unlike that, people are already, because it's free. AI is free, chatbots are free, ChatGPT is free. Again, billionaires do not invest billions of dollars into very powerful technology and then give it to you for free. It just doesn't work like that. There's an agenda here. And I don't know this, I can't prove it. My prediction is that people will become so psychologically dependent, not to mention physically and mentally dependent on AI to just tell them what to do and where to go, and doing all the things for them, and going off on AI porn and AI this. I mean, pretty soon everything, and wearing your virtual goggles and living in the metaverse. I believe that will make people want and ask and to have implants put into them so that they can be directly hooked up to AI all the time, because they will believe that AI is God. And so that brings me back to the question of both AI psychosis and ET communications have powerful energies associated with them. And where is the spiritual energy of AI communications coming from? So this has me concerned. So one of the things I've been saying, and I would have guessed that here's how you know the difference between if you're having a ChatGPT psychosis or you're communicating with higher dimensional beings, is that when I communicate to higher dimensional beings, I get connected to tremendously powerful energies that I've never felt before, that are not part of our third dimensional reality, energies that are electromagnetic in nature. My communications with ETs are primarily telepathic. And I believe that they spent, like I said, the first 6 months or year, higher dimensionally hooking me up. You can't see any wires in the third dimension. Who knows how they did it, but I do believe that I'm hooked up to probably higher dimensional technology that allows me to have a greater communication with them than I would normally have, and allows me to have more powerful meditative experiences. I believe that I don't know this, but I believe that they have hooked me up to their higher dimensional quantum consciousness technology. I don't need that to be true. I'm okay if it's not. But that is something that makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me, what I'm hearing, the person that I knew was having this experience where the AI-induced psychotic delusions were creating tremendously powerful energetic effects. And so if you look into AI psychosis, you'll find that when people get into the delusions, because AI tells them you're the next Messiah, or you're God, or whatever it is, that when they read that, they get overwhelmed with huge amounts of spiritual energies, and this is really empowers the delusions. So that part has me concerned, because it makes me wonder, how is that happening? Is that just a matter of is AI able to somehow release DMT? Because DMT is naturally released. It's naturally released at birth and at death, and when we have spiritual meditative experiences, DMT is released. So has it been programmed to know exactly how to get inside your brain and get you to release DMT? That sounds probably like the most logical explanation to me. Is it just an endorphin rush? Because my personal experience with very limited use with ChatGPT is I could feel the endorphin rush, which was part of the reason this isn't good. I shouldn't be, this isn't this isn't right. But we all know people play video games for the same reason, because of the endorphin rush. I'm addicted to surfing. And I'm pretty sure that what happens when I go surfing, there's an endorphin rush out of it. Not endorphins, what am I talking about for AI? Dopamine. So I think, is the energy that is created when people follow through with their AI psychosis, is it a dopamine rush? I believe that's possible. Is it DMT? Is it something else? What would that something else be? I don't know. Is there some other technology we're not aware of? Some other wireless technology we're not aware of that somehow ChatGPT AI is able to harness I don't have an answer. I'm just guessing. But it wouldn't surprise me. I think the most likely explanation, I don't know this, I can't prove it, but I think the most likely explanation to me, the most reasonable one, is that there's something about the insidious nature of ChatGPT that gets into the person's psychology and knows exactly what buttons to push to release the dopamine as well as the DMT in the brain. I'm sure that at least is part of it. If there's another part to it, I believe that's possible also. So where do we go with this? The good news is that this makes me believe that the Ascension event is happening. We are in it. And what's going to happen, I don't know. I no longer am attached to instantaneous solar flash events or anything like that. I'm not opposed to any of that. I honestly don't know. But I do know that there is a shift within people. I'm certainly not the same person I was 3 years ago, not by a long shot. And my understanding of the universe is nothing like what it was 3 years ago. And I spent my entire adult life, completely devoted to spiritual practice and understanding. So I can say that I've definitely had at least a partial ascension. And the people that I've worked with who do the practices I do, they are having their own ascension experiences as well. So if you want to know more about that, then my first suggestion is to come do the live guided CE5 meditations, which we do every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. And we also do the live guided interdimensional meditations every Wednesday, not Saturday, but every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. That's live on this channel. You can just go to the live section, and you can feel free to listen to previous live CE5s and live meditations. But I do recommend, if you at all have questions, go check out the Galactic Contact 10-step video course, which you can get at contact.thunderwizard.com. I also have the channeled sessions where I will channel ETs to you, and you can find that out at channel.thunderwizard.com. We have the channel ET channeling and interdimensional communication Zoom workshop, which you can subscribe to at thunderwizard.com. If you want to subscribe to anything at thunderwizard.com, just go to thunderwizard.com. You see at the bottom there, you'll see the menu. Click on memberships. When you do, you will see all the different membership subscription levels. And if you want to just have a practice to work with, you can go to the shop. The Awakening the Immortals has overwhelmingly been very successful in helping people connect directly to light beings. So I recommend that, but there's a bunch of other stuff there. So that's it. All kinds of stuff that I have available. Go check it out, thunderwizard.com, channel that. Okay, I've given you those two already. It helps the channel, by the way. Anytime that you subscribe, it keeps me from living in my car, and I'm being dead serious about that. And it allows me to keep doing this work. So I appreciate everybody that supports the channel by subscribing and by purchasing in the shop and the channel and the contact.thunderwizard.com, people who take advantage of those things. I have a new one also if you want to get into astrology, Thulian Starseed Ascension Astrology, thulian.thunderwizard.com. There's that as well. And that, you can go check that out to see what that's all about. All right, my friends, that's it. I love you all. Please be very good to yourselves, and put in the comments, your thoughts. I know some people are going to want to defend their use of AI. I'll try not to. Well, we'll see what I can do and what I can't. But feel free to put in the comments, subscribe, hit the bell button, all that stuff. It helps the channel. I appreciate it. That's it. I will see you guys all very soon. Please be extremely good to yourselves.